What's up, everybody? This is the Loudmouth, your boy Tim.
And always the real Ron at your service. Don't be nervous.
What's up, Ron?
Hey, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, Tim.
Yeah, we're probably both going to get pissed off here.
Yeah, it's going to be good, son. It's going to be good.
Yeah, maybe. Or it could be really bad. I guess we'll find out. Feels like it's been forever.
It has been forever.
Yeah.
And I even took notes. And you know that I don't even write good, but I took notes because I was like, I'm going to get Tim.
Because we didn't do our Thursday show, did we?
No, because you're out there making money working for a living.
No. I think that was you. I think you had that gala or something that you were going to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, God, it has been a week.
It has. It really has.
Yeah. Well, we planned on doing Sunday, but I was at that wedding. By the time I got done, oh my God, I was just exhausted.
Oh yeah,
3 weddings this weekend. It was a lot.
Hang on a second. I got to share this to my page because I love when we go live.
Going live. Well, it's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. On the Tweeter.
It's on the Twitter. We got on Twitter.
Yeah, we're on Twitter. Loudmouth Production.
What?
Yeah.
I know, I don't know how you want to start this off, but I know that I talked to Chris Banning, Janice Danforth, and Unwokable this morning, and I know that you were on there.
Yes, I was.
Yes, you were.
Oh man, Smith Jane, was that person's name? Oh my God, I swear that's got to be Mark.
You think it is?
Yeah, I looked at it, and the only comment that I had seen from that person was from Wokable or Unwokable, so I thought it was, but then I went to the main profile and they have a bunch of spam crap on there, so I don't know.
I thought it might have been
a fake account.
I thought it might have been Stephanie Jane.
Oh yeah, I mean that's possible. Well, no, because I think she would be agreeing with me on that stuff that I was saying.
Oh, maybe.
But that person was hating on me because I was,
really?
I'm not into indoctrination of any kind. I don't care if it's religion or what.
Somebody was disagreeing with you, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, aren't you surprised?
I know. I'm extremely. I'm like, why would you disagree with Tim?
I know, right? It's like impossible. Somebody's messaging me here.
Oh, I know. My phone just blew up too.
Oh, I think somebody was waiting to watch.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna there. I'm not gonna say who it is. If that person wants to be said, they'll say. Anyway, so yeah, right before this, and we're a little late because Deborah Gist went live.
Oh my gosh.
And Ron was like, you got to watch this. This is some bullshit. So I went over and watched it, and well, I had some things to say.
Was it bullshit though?
Yeah, it was bullshit. Yeah,
it was complete bullshit.
Now she didn't say what you had said. She said that it was his religious belief or whatever. She was trying to say that that's just the way he believes, and we're diverse and that's okay. And I'm like, lady, that's not what we're talking about here. You're arguing a completely different thing here.
And we're talking about Tyler Wrynn.
Right. He's purposely indoctrinating children. Here, I'll just pull this Project Veritas video up. That way people that are watching will know exactly what we're talking about. Let me throw that up there real quick.
Like you haven't seen this already. You're living under a rock.
Yeah, under a rock for sure.
I am so the only thing that's a problem here is that House Bill 1775 or something. I can get my license for being too woke.
But I think it's, you know what I mean? You're not overly, there's ways to.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like, trust me, I want to like burn down the entire system.
Yeah.
So I'll just stop there for a second. It was to burn the entire system down.
What does that even mean?
He disagrees with the system. He's a quote unquote anarchist. This is bullshit. This guy ain't no anarchist. He doesn't know what anarchy is.
He's a punk. You've called him a punk. I'll call him a punk. He's a punk.
Yeah, he's a punk. He's, and I feel like he'd be a great teacher if he was about 15 or 20 years older.
And I've agreed with that. You have the ability to reach children on a level that I can't reach them, but you're so immature and you're so punkish.
Yeah, and he thinks he's, I think he feels like he's being edgy. He's going
Right.
against the grain. He's going to stick it to the man. Come on,
Right.
man. Anyway, let's continue so
Yeah,
everybody can see the rest.
Yeah.
There's ways to introduce these ideas without broadcasting it. You know what I'm saying?
And I broadcasted too much last
A little
semester.
too much.
Like,
A little too much.
to like remove Christianity from or religion from progressive thought because like religion is hierarchical.
Yes, that is Tyler Wrynn. He used to teach at the
Okay, James, I don't need to hear from you, buddy. I just want to get back. James is a douche.
James kind of pissed me off because let's just touch on this real quick before we go any further. Let's touch on this because James, he reposted or tweeted or whatever that Project Veritas and Libs of TikTok single-handedly took down Tyler Wrynn.
Right,
You and I both know what happened to Tyler Wrynn, right?
Right. Yeah. You sent me a deal with his TikTok page. I started going through it. It pissed me off. So I sent an email to the school, just laying it out. I sent him all the links and everything. And then I followed it up because I kept digging. And so this time I actually downloaded all of his videos that were pertinent to it. And I sent them videos, not just the links, because I figured at some point Tyler was going to make it private. And then within 3 weeks, he was gone.
He was gone.
Right. And I'll just say, Libs of TikTok posted about it on the 11th. He was fired or forced to resign on the 11th. He had been on the agenda to be resigned 7 days prior to that. So they had already known that they were going to do that long before Libs of TikTok ever even knew about it.
Yeah. And just to be clear with you, I messaged Libs of TikTok the shit that you sent me because you downloaded the videos because he blocked me.
Yeah, he blocked me as well.
But I didn't have access, but you had already downloaded his videos. I sent that to Libs of TikTok. And then I know you don't like him or don't like his views, but Jeremy Guthrie got me in touch with Project Veritas.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. And I contacted them, and I've been talking with them since April. And that's where they got involved. And I sent them some information as far as individuals to follow him over in Tulsa because we talked about this. We knew that as soon as he left Owasso, letting him resign, that he would go to another district and do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that like the second email that I sent to school, it was the same day. I said basically all of what is being said right here in this video in the email to this district, and they shouldn't have let this dude resign. They should have fired his ass.
Right.
I mean,
they had every opportunity. They had everything.
They had every right.
They had every right to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird because like the people on the left are falling all over themselves trying to make it like, oh, it's not a big deal, or oh, it's this or that. Is no. If you don't want people to indoctrinate your kids with religious crap, then don't expect them to be okay with you indoctrinating kids with, whatever this is.
Well, we got hit real bad. You and I did, being transphobic, homophobic. Like we were attacking him because he was non-binary. It had nothing to do with that.
I think he did that. I think because I'm pretty sure he's the one that started that rumor. And I think it was because your name got attached to it. And because of the comments that you have made in the past about that, with your daughter and such, now everybody associates you with being, anti-trans or transphobic or whatever. So I feel like he did that on purpose to, deflect some of that to make us look like we're a bunch of just trans haters or whatever, which is nonsense.
It is.
So, but I mean, and I always told everybody, I'm like, that's not what this is. I can prove it to you. Because I got the emails that I sent to the school, and none of it had anything to do with that stuff. Right. And of course, you send it in there, nobody really went after me, which is funny because.
Why is that, Tim? Because they come after me all the time, and you know this.
Well, I mean, I know you had talked to like OCPA So your name was on that article. Your name was on several other articles. So they probably just latched onto you, and you're the bigger target. So
I have
might be what it
to
was.
right now, Tim. Right now, I'm replying to somebody from Florida that just sent me a Project Veritas, Ryan Walters addressing Tyler Wrynn. In case you haven't seen this yet, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Seriously,
you've
people,
gotten several people that's in it. Yeah.
We did this. We are parents.
Right.
We are dads. We are involved parents in our public schools. This is what happens when you involve parents.
Right. And this is Deborah doesn't like it. She doesn't like that at all. And Deborah Gist, for anybody that doesn't know, she's the superintendent of Tulsa Public Schools.
And she's a horrible individual. And Deborah, tell him I said that.
Now, here, let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and play the rest of this clip for everybody.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If your parents don't love and accept you for who you are this Christmas, f them. I'm your parents now. I'm proud of you. Drink some water. I love you. Bye.
I have a rather large TikTok following. Yeah. I'm an authority figure, so I'm going to give out a Christmas message of like, hey, if your parents don't love and support you for who you are this Christmas, them. I'm your parents now. I love you. Drink some water. I'm proud of you.
His TikTok page Backdoor is his secret curriculum. Here is a list of books that link tree.
I would say Gen Z is like super progressive.
Oh, I know.
I taught in Missouri last year, not last year, but 2 years ago. I taught a philosophy 101 class. We took a political quiz.
Now, the rest of this isn't really all that relevant. He said, the worst stuff, I think, at the beginning, where he was essentially, this is how I subtly do these things. Now, keep in mind.
Intentionally and purposefully.
Right. Now, keep in mind, though, that all of this has been edited heavily. I'm sure this conversation could have been an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Who knows how long that conversation went on, but, and then they pick out. That's another reason I'm not so keen on Project Veritas, because they, you can really make something sound like it, you know what I mean? Sound worse than it is. But I know that this at least is somewhat accurate, because this is the exact same crap that he was saying on TikTok.
Let me ask you this, Tim, because I want to get into the meat of this. I sent you the thread where the school board president for TPS right now is blaming the person that is asking Tyler these questions, and they want to get to him. Who is this imposter that we hired that was said that they were non-binary and they befriended Tyler and they're an investigative journalist and they went after Tyler? Have you seen that?
I'm not sure I know what you're referring to exactly.
Hang on a second. I'll read it. This is from Stacy Woolley, who is the Tulsa Public School board member, president.
Okay.
You haven't seen? I swear to God, I sent this.
No, my kids don't go to Tulsa. I don't follow their stuff.
We should probably organize before we do this, but I like spontaneity. So,
well, I mean, I didn't know you were going to bring. I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest with you.
I think you will once I start reading it, because it's where she says, oh my gosh, Elena Ashley posted this. You know who Elena is, right?
Yeah.
And it was a response, because she's like, why do we have this person teaching our kids? And
referring to Tyler, I assume. Okay.
So, oh my gosh.
Hold on, I got to put this up on the.
So many texts.
Hey, Ron, look at the screen.
Who is it? Chris? Who is that? Chris Lee?
Can y'all talk about how excited y'all are about Chris Banning becoming state representative?
Man, let me tell you about that dude. Go ahead. Tell
Yeah,
us what you know about
congrats, by the way. Congrats. I mean, we've talked about it before on the show. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Logan kind of went off the deep end a little bit, I guess. There,
Logan who? Logan who?
Phillips.
Man, that dude's a piece of shit.
Yeah, well,
he is.
He kind of showed that a little bit when he was going after Melissa, which I think she got him to pull his stuff down, which is good. But
well, Logan blocked me like first and foremost right out the gate. He was like, I'm not talking to parents that don't agree with me.
Well, so okay, so what are we looking at here?
Go on.
So, okay. So anyway, yeah. So Tyler was asked to resign. He should have been fired. He went on to Tulsa Public Schools, and then Project Veritas does this. And then Deborah Gist come out, and she basically was saying that
I got it.
Go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
TPS board member Elena Ashley to board member Stacy Woolley. And this is Stacy Woolley's response. Well, this is a managerial issue. So I'm just reading. Well, this is a managerial issue. So that will be Deborah Gist's decision. From a personal perspective, I'm not sure what you mean, what will be done. I'd really like it if someone had the time to find out who the man was who went into one of our buildings pretending to be a father of a non-binary student in order to meet Tyler. Yeah. Hang on. This is the Tulsa Public School Board member president, Stacy Woolley, stating this.
So Woolley is a board member and Elena Ashley is a board member, but Woolley is the president.
Yeah.
Or you're saying a state, because the state board president is Joy Hoffmeister.
Right. No, what I'm saying is Woolley and Elena Ashley are both school board members.
Right. But
Woolley is
the
school
president.
board 1. Elena Ashley is school board 4. But Woolley is the president currently.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is Woolley, the father of a non-binary student, in order to meet Tyler Wrynn and set him up for the production of this video. Project Veritas. Shut up. Project Veritas is well known for being their. I'm just reading. This is verbatim.
Just get it.
Project Veritas is well known for being their deceptive practices and intentional misleading.
True.
Although I'm sure there is not a person who has the time to find this man, I suspect there would be legal ramifications for entering a school under false pretenses and jeopardizing the safety of our students. And then Deborah Gist follows with, we certainly don't have the time or resources to investigate the imposter in our school, especially now with the magnitude of what we are handling. It does contribute to the broader safety issue, which is not lost on us. Question: who cares about the kids?
Was that part of the thing, or did you add that at the end?
No.
Wait, so who asked question, who cares about the kids? Because I can't see that on the screen.
Gist
asked who cares about the kids.
Right.
Well, I mean,
as a dig towards Elena Ashley.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I took it that way.
I took it that way. She was like, why are you asking about this when we're talking about the McLean shooting, which is horrible? I hate that. It was tragic. My prayers and thoughts go out to those family members. That's a societal issue. It's not an educational issue to me, though.
Well, I mean, both of those things kind of go hand in hand. The less educated your people are, I think, the more likely that things like that will happen. So I guess I'm a little confused about the message. Who was going back and forth? So Wooly, or whatever her name was wanting to go and investigate the imposter, the person from Veritas. Elena Ashley just wanted to investigate what we're going to do about Tyler Wrynn, and Deborah Gist comes in and says, well, what about the kids?
Right.
Essentially.
Perfect.
Okay. So, well, I mean, I don't disagree with her trying to bring it back to the kids, but I think they all three have fair points where, one, you've got this person that they just let go in there under false pretenses, but that's the thing. When you turn your blinders on just because somebody claims to be non-binary or trans or whatever, and you just okay, that's what happens. And actually, the same is true with religious folk. A lot of religious folk use that also. The predators will go into churches and they'll use those churches, and that religious people often look at each other as if they're decent people. So they and then how did my child get molested while they were at church? So it's kind of the same concept, I guess. So yeah, that certainly needs to be addressed, but I'm less concerned about somebody pretending to be somebody else, and I'm more concerned with the fact that you got a teacher in there.
That's my point. That's my point. Yes,
openly admitting to, and has admitted to in the past, wanting to essentially push his ideology on the kids. And Deborah Gist had come out and said, well, we know this is a diverse country, and that's what makes us great. And while I agree with that, that's not what we're talking about, Debbie.
Did you tell her that, though?
Lady? Do what?
Did you tell her that on her live?
Yeah, God, you should go read what I posted on there.
Did you really?
Yeah, she's an idiot. She is an absolute moron. She's talking. This is what I can't stand about people that don't listen to understand what's being said to them. They listen to respond to it. Right? This is the same problem we have with police departments. And I posed it in this way to her so that she could understand. People are screaming defund the police because the fucking police don't listen. They keep doing stupid shit. They don't hold anybody accountable for the stupid shit that those few people do. And it makes them all look bad. So what was the result? After years and years, decades even, of them not listening, now they want to defund the police. Right? That's where it went to. So when you pose this scenario to her, in this instance, it's the same freaking concept, except in this case, you're defunding the damn school. Because you're like, we've been telling you for years and years and years, and you won't fucking listen. And the only thing you do is protect each other. Your administrators only care about making sure that the teachers don't make, we don't want to look bad. And then whenever nobody ever listens, what is the result? Defund the fucking school and go to the school voucher. And because I never in my life have I ever been for vouchers, except in the last couple of years when I'm like, this is a fucking brick wall. You can't talk to these people. They don't listen to shit. The only way that you could do it is to force them out. I don't want to go that route, but if threatening this to them will get them to open their ears and eyes and listen, then hopefully that'll work. But what the hell else is left?
That's what I'm saying. You and I both we're not proponents of vouchers.
Nope.
We're proponents of public schools. But if it takes
100%.
us, if it takes us supporting vouchers to get you to get your shit straight,
if only to scare the shit out of you.
Right. And I don't think it'll ever happen in the next 10 years. I think it'll take a long time because it's legislative. But yeah, I'm going to throw that up there. If it works for kids, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it'll work for some kids and it won't work for other kids.
Right. But
of course, that's still the same situation, I guess, we're in now anyway.
Same fucking situation we're in right now, Tim.
That's why I wouldn't take my kids to Tulsa public schools if somebody put a gun to my head.
I love that story. I don't want to put you on the spot, but please tell that story.
Oh, the fact that I drove hours every day to avoid it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to go into detail for reasons.
Right.
But yeah, I refuse to go. I refuse to do it.
You drove past dozens of schools.
Yeah. Yeah. Until I found myself in a position where I could move to a school I wanted to be at. And that's why I came to Owasso.
But you weren't really in a position to drive past dozens of schools, correct? It would have been easier.
I was
to go down the street, right?
It would have been, yes. And now we were financially okay. And that's where I really take issue with the whole voucher thing, because you're going to have parents that can't afford to drive. They may not even have a damn car. They can't take their kid to the good school. So then you got this flock of, middle-class children running to one school because it's better, obviously. Then the one that they're running from is going to lose the funding, and it's going to get worse. If that makes any sense. And now all you've got are all the shit suckers in one school, and then all the, non-shit suckers in the other school. So then you have this even bigger class divide. That's my fear, is that we're already divided by class in a big way.
We are.
And doing this is going to just make it even worse. But I don't think either one, these politicians don't think about it that way, or they want it to be that way. I can't really tell, because they don't want their kids to be intermingled with the bad seeds. Right.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I got to use the bathroom real quick. Tim, I'm sorry.
All right. No, that's fine. I'll just keep talking bullshit. But yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about school vouchers. I just feel like there's a way to fix it, because we have plenty of states that do just fine with regular public schools, and their public schools are just fine. So, you got to take from that. But again, like I've said on this, on this show time and time again, conservatives largely have run this country or this state for the last 40 years, and they've been running it into the ground. And to some degree, I think they've done it on purpose so that they could turn around and create businesses and manage these private schools or these charter schools so that they can scrape money out of the education fund. I mean, that's some conspiracy on my end, sure, but I mean, it seems logical enough that would happen. And then you have people like the two guys that made Epic, that came up with Epic. They got busted for doing that. They were, stealing money out of the school fund with their, charter management services or whatever. What the hell is that anyway? You're paying somebody to manage schools. I don't know. It's all kind of weird stuff. And now you've got, like Facebook. Summit Learning is a Facebook application. They've been going around giving this shit to schools for free, right? It's like you get laptops and you get this program that's going to help teach the kids. And they go to school, they sit in class, and they do all their class on this computer, and the teacher is just a glorified proctor. And then Facebook gets to mine all of the data of all those kids. Because let's face it, when you're dealing with big tech, nothing is free. They may hand it to you and say, yeah, you can use this and you don't have to pay anything per month, but they're getting their money somewhere, and they're getting it from the data from your kids. Imagine a tech company with all these algorithms and AI and stuff having the entire developmental process of your child from the time they were in kindergarten all the way until they turned 18 and were ready to vote. Imagine the ability of those companies to be able to manipulate those children into voting for whoever they wanted to. We saw, a sliver of this with Donald Trump and Cambridge Analytica. Steve Bannon, he was part of that whole thing where they, went through and scraped Facebook data, just, superficial type data, and were able to successfully manipulate people. And a lot of the fake news stuff that we saw came from Cambridge Analytica, because those were the ads that they determined would trigger enough people to get them to, not vote for Hillary or, whatever the case was. And that could be true for any party. Those people don't care. That they just care about money. So if somebody's willing to pay more for it, I'm certain they're going to sell it to them, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican. At this point, I think that's an inevitability because all the schools now go into Google Chrome. Now all these kids have these laptops in front of them. So all their schoolwork's getting done on the laptop. So that's, something that we're really going to have to pay attention to and go after, especially in the legislators are going to have to start passing laws and say, no, you can't keep this data. You can't hold on to it. You can't share it. You can't do any of this stuff. We're going to have to, because otherwise, we're just all going to be handing over the lives of our children to these big tech companies, and they're going to do whatever they want to do. I mean, you can think about it. I can hear Ron in the background, but think about it this way. Look how many years it took us to get rid of like cigarette advertisements, right? For a long time, we had doctors say, this is bad for you. It's causing cancer. It's doing this, it's doing that, and that deals with your physical well-being. But imagine your mental well-being, where does that come into play?
Mental being, I know about that.
About being mental or
either or.
No, I was just talking about like big tech and stuff in our schools, and how they're like Summit Learning is a Facebook program. It was created by I believe it was Zuckerberg's wife, and they started handing it out to all these schools for free. There ain't nothing free. They're getting their money off that data. Like Owasso just brought in Lightspeed, and if you read the contract in Lightspeed, it says they can sell all of that data if they want to. They can give it away, they can sell it, they can trade it off however they want to.
That's a complete data mining thing.
Right. And that's what they're, there's like they're experimenting on the kids. So,
They're busy. They're like, whatever.
Yeah, it's a big mess.
You know best, so you do it.
What's that?
Data mining.
Oh yeah. Well, so in the instance of Lightspeed, and I'm sure a lot of or most schools around the country now have something similar to it. They can actually the teacher can sit at his or her computer and literally watch the screens in real time of your kids as they do their work or whatever they're doing. The teacher can go in there and close tabs. The teacher can force open tabs so that your child has to look at a certain thing. They can lock it down so they can't do certain things. And then there's even a button that says raise hand. So now the kids don't even raise their hand in class anymore. They push a damn button on the computer while they're sitting in the classroom with a bunch of other kids just doing work in front of at this computer. And then the teacher will send them a message because they're too lazy to get up, I guess, and do whatever. So, it's crazy to me that we're going that route. Like, what the hell happened to pencil and paper? I don't get it.
And what grade is that from?
I don't know about Lightspeed, but the Google Chrome stuff is, I believe, from first grade now on. Yeah. I don't know because I don't have
teachers. You have teachers that are like, here's 10, 15 minutes of instruction. Open your Chromebooks up, and somebody else is going to teach you, not me.
Right. Yeah. My daughter is dealing with that, like math problems. Okay, go to this link, watch these videos about how to do these math problems. And if you have any questions, let me know. Like I want to give you a raise, but I expect a hell of a lot more out of you than just sitting there on your ass and doing nothing and then pissing and moaning when I send you an email.
Right.
About something. So like,
well, the Twitter thing between me and Andy Fugate, the House of Representative from Oklahoma City. He's like, we have hateful students and hateful parents.
Yeah.
Teachers don't want to deal with that. Listen, that's the profession you chose.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anybody needs to be hateful to anybody else.
Yeah, but you're going to have to deal with it.
If somebody's got a concern and their child isn't learning the proper way or not getting it or whatever, your perception is not reality in that realm of the universe. So,
yeah. So there's a couple of comments I'd like to touch on.
Yeah.
First, we've got Odie, the Boston Terrier. He says, "Hey, Ron, And hey, Tim, what's up, man? Thanks for showing back up. This one's funny. Corella follows Kaiser's scripts. And she also said that teachers are forced to comply. Now, I will say that there is at least one teacher that my kid has that I spoke to her before school ever started, and she was like, I don't like that. I will do as little as possible on the laptop. So, I appreciated that.
Oh, here in Owasso?
Yeah, in Owasso. And Tammy says this is why parents need to say no to Chromebooks.
I love Tammy and Tina. I love y'all. I don't know who was the Boston person.
I don't know who that is, but this person shows up on the show all the time. So, much love. Appreciate the support. But yeah, Tammy's right. We need to say no to Chromebooks. And think about this. If you let your kid, when they get home from school, you let your kid, play on the laptop or play on their phone or, whatever they do when they get there, you might think to yourself, well, it's only a couple hours a night, right?
Right.
Well, that might have been true 3 years ago, but after COVID, then they started ramming this shit down everybody's throats. Now they're looking at these screens for 7 hours a day. When they go to school, they're looking at these screens for 7 hours a day. Doctors over and over, study after study after study after study shows that it increases anxiety. It increases bouts of ADHD. It causes eye problems. It causes posture issues. I mean, you run the gamut. It causes obesity because kids just aren't active anymore because they're on their damn computer. So it's one thing to, when you get home, you want to sit and relax. Well, why in the hell would you want your kid to be on the TV or, playing something when they've been sitting in front of it for 7 hours at school?
Right.
Like, the goal should be to get them away from that crap because, in my opinion, the grades and the education and retention of information is much better when you have multiple modes of receiving it. Not only are you hearing it from the teacher, but then you're writing it also. And not, typing is much different than writing. Is not as active of a process as writing is. So, it requires a lot more attention when you're doing that stuff that way. So they need to go back to pencil and paper. And that was what I was going to talk about at the last school board meeting, but because of the whole book thing,
tell me, because we talked today, you were a little late on signing up for the school board, apparently, Tim.
Oh, I'm so pissed. Yeah. So, okay. So
this has happened to me too. So
2 weeks ago. So I'll just some backstory. 2 weeks ago, they had a board meeting right on September 19th.
2 weeks. 2
weeks. Well, 2 weeks and 1 day, whatever. So I didn't even think about it because it was so recent. I'm used to waiting, 2.5, 3 weeks or whatever to sign up to speak again.
Which we always speak at the board meeting. So like every month we're there.
Yeah. And somebody asked me, they were like, when is the next board meeting? I'm like, I'm not sure. Let me go look. And I go look and it's on the 10th. Well, today's the freaking 4th and you got to sign up 7 days in advance. So here I am 1 day late and it was in the morning too. So I reach out to Renee Klein. She's the one that deals with that stuff and puts you on the agenda.
And has nothing to do with policy or anything. Renee's awesome.
Right. She's the clerk. I do like Renee. But she's like, no, sorry, can't do it. And my response was, well, that's some bullshit. Literally, that's what I said.
I wish you would post that email you sent because that was a phenomenal email.
Oh, I can read it. Here, let me go find it. I kind of feel bad that I sent it, but
read that shit. That's what
at the same time I was like, because it doesn't make me look good. I said, yeah, she said, Mr. Ryland, I'm sorry you did not realize the date of the October school board meeting, even though it's literally like a week or 2 weeks early from what it normally is. Unfortunately, I will not be able to add you to the agenda at this time. I said, well, that's some bullshit. And I tagged the superintendent and assistant superintendent in that. And then I said, let me move my light here because I can't read.
That's phenomenal.
Hold on. No. It gets worse. I feel bad for sending it, to be honest with you.
You said shit to the school board meeting?
Yeah, I said bullshit. Yeah. I said you changed the board meeting dates around so that I have to sign back up 2 weeks after the previous meeting, even though they are once a friggin' month. I said FRIGGIN. This is administrative nonsense designed to keep parents from voicing their thoughts on stuff. Quote, but Mr. Ryland, the policy says, and then I said, to be honest, at this point, I don't give two squats what the policy states because the only thing you ever do is put our names on the agenda, not even the thing that we're talking about. So it's not like it can't be fixed so that I can speak about it, because if you include today and the day of the meeting, that's 7 friggin' days. Yeah, I'm not happy with the board's flippy floppy dates where you have to jump through this and that hoop. It's crap, total and absolute crap. And I say that with all due respect. Thanks, Tim.
And did you get a response?
No, they aren't going to respond to that. I'm not going to apologize for it either, but I do feel bad. I mean, approaching them that way it's not going to do you any good. But I was already pissed off about other crap. That whole Tyler crap was irritating me anyway, and then I had to deal with that.
Tim, you're such an asshole.
Yeah, well, this is and I've actually thought of this. Ask her to sign up every month as to be determined. I don't know if they'll let me to do that, but yeah.
You brought up a good point. They give 30 minutes for public comment, right?
Right. Yeah, 5 minutes. Well, it's 15 minutes for non-agenda items and 15 minutes for agenda items, and it's spread out. So I can still go sign up the day of 10 minutes early, but I have to speak on something that's on the agenda, and that's not what I was going to talk about.
That's only a WASO, right?
Do what?
That's only a WASO.
Right. Each board does it different.
Right. Bigsby, I can go down there and I can sign up 15 minutes before the meeting, and I can talk about anything I want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the way it should be.
It should be.
They shouldn't need to put your damn name on the agenda for you to be able to speak. This is just and when they started live streaming, what'd they do? They moved everything to the end. So
and
now all the teachers, move that shit to the end.
What this. I went up there and I made board members laugh, and they
cringe
engaged.
laugh. To the audience, it was cringe laugh. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Not cringe laugh.
But
it was actual laughter, but they blocked that shit out on Facebook or YouTube or whatever they do. So
did they?
Oh yeah, completely. Brent was like doubled over in laughter when I was up there. But you can't see it on Facebook. But you're still gonna speak, right?
I mean, depending on what's on the agenda, I didn't actually look at the agenda, so I don't know what's on there. But I'll find a way to squeeze my shit in there, Ron. Yeah. You mark my word. I'll find some way to segue in there, real beautiful. Like,
how do parents not have this sense of responsibility that we do to go speak now?
They may not. They probably just don't pay attention to it. They think everything is fine. That reminds me of that meme, where you got the guys in the computer room, that little cartoon character, and the whole building's on fire, and it says everything is fine.
Right.
That's I think what most people are, because they're so damn busy. Everybody's got to work constantly just to put enough freaking money together to get some food, for their kids. So it's a lot, because I find myself really putting a lot of work and time into this stuff and speeches and stuff. Of course, I've pulled back on putting too much time into my speeches because they don't fucking listen to it anyway. It's just my way to to.
Do you know that they listen to you when you speak?
No, not necessarily. It depends on what it is, I guess. Because usually, like the things that I've been able to get changed, it was outside of what I was talking about anyway. So when I would go to speak, it was mostly for the audience. When I go there, it's mostly for anybody that's listening to know what's going on, because they aren't privy to the emails and stuff that I send to the board. Right. If that makes sense. So I know we're supposed to address the board, but really when I go there and talk, it's usually for the sake of the of the audience, aside from the gaggle stuff. That was, that was for the board. They gotta cut that shit out.
Let me switch gears here for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, do it to it.
Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt.
Governor. He's a governor.
Yeah. But he said he signed Senate Bill 3.
I haven't read it, by the way.
To make sure that gender affirming surgeries were not taking place in Oklahoma hospitals. Under taxpayer dollars.
I got to take taxpayer dollars. That's a little different. Is that what it says? Taxpayer dollars?
Right. Taxpayer dollars.
Oh, well, that's a little different.
On to say that I would like to see a statewide ban on gender affirming surgeries for children, for minors.
I got to take a libertarian stance on this one.
Well, I think that's horseshit. So let's talk about it. That's what I want to talk about.
Look, I'm not a doctor. Kevin Stitt's not a doctor.
Right.
Half those the politicians in there, they aren't doctors either. They're lawyers or businessmen or whatever. So when you get a bunch of lawyers together to try to form treatment plans for everybody, I mean, come on. I don't think it's the government's role to come in and tell a doctor and a patient and that patient's parents or whoever's.
Let me ask you this.
It's not their role.
If your daughter came to you right now and said, I want to be a pirate, I want to take my left eye out and I want to make sure that I have a peg leg and remove my leg, will you sign off on that? What do you say?
That's what you call prosthetic. And that's ridiculous comparison. So honestly, I shouldn't even entertain the hypothetical because that's not what's happening here.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do it in this way because Unwokable tried this. Unwokable tried this earlier where he was like, "What if you have your kid comes to you, they're MAGA?" And I'm like, "Well,
yeah.
If MAGA is considered a mental illness, then you might have a point."
But you've said that MAGA is a cult mental illness.
I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. That doesn't mean it's a mental illness.
What is a cult? Of course it's a mental. If it's a cult, it's a mental. What?
No, that's not a mental illness.
What is a cult then?
Being a cult is following a person to the gates of hell and doing whatever they want you to do because you believe in that person.
That's a fucking mental illness.
If that's a mental illness, then every Christian out there is mentally ill.
You said it, I didn't.
That's my point, though, is that it's the same difference. That is not a cult, is not a mental illness. Christianity is not a mental illness. But that's my point. So anyway, we're talking about a mental problem, right? A mental illness that a child is having. And I would never allow my child to do that because I don't think that that's right. I don't think that it's fair to the child. I don't like it. I find those surgeries to be disgusting. And my personal belief is that if you want to do something like that, once you turn 18, you do with that whatever the hell you want to. But if you're my child and you're living under my roof, I'm not going to allow you to do that. That said, I am not another person's parent. I'm not another child's parent. I cannot make that determination because I don't know that child well enough to know what that child is going through. So I'm not about to stick my nose where it doesn't belong. So if a child is struggling with mental illness and a doctor and the parent and the child all believe that it is worth stripping the arm or the leg of skin to do something like that, that has nothing to do with me. It is none of my business. But with the tax issue, taxpayer money, I don't think should go towards it.
Okay. 2 issues, 2 points. We had this conversation. If you see a child in a tent and it's the tent says transgender affirming surgery on the street corner, Are you going to pull in the parking lot and do that if your child wants that at 8 years old?
Well, what did I just say?
Right. You're not, because you're rational.
I won't because my child does not deal with a mental problem that is so ingrained in them
But
that it causes them problems.
As a human being and a member of society, you're not going to pull over and be like, what are you doing to this 8-year-old?
It's none of my business. If it is a medical facility, well, okay, that's fine. But if you go by a hospital and they're stripping skin off of somebody's leg to put it on their face, are you going to say that's wrong?
That was a traumatic event. That's not a made up.
What do you think causes these children to go into the hospital and
there are parents that aren't parenting them?
No, I don't believe that that's true in every case.
Stephanie.
I don't know enough about Stephanie, but
I can't say her last name, but Stephanie, you know.
I don't know anything about her or her child.
She doesn't have a child. She's not able to have a child. That's an adopted child.
Okay.
That pisses me off.
I mean, you take that up with Stephanie. I don't know anything about it. I don't know even what you're referring to right now. We're talking about trans kids or people that believe that they are the other gender. This is a real mental
That's
issue.
what I'm talking about. If somebody believes they're a pirate or a dolphin or a unicorn,
if they have a severe mental illness that causes them debilitating life experience,
if they're over 18,
no, why is that your choice?
Because
why do you get to dictate for other people what they can and cannot do with a doctor? We're talking about licensed physicians and surgeons and therapists.
Dr. Death. Have you heard of Dr. Death?
There's always going to be bad examples, but that doesn't mean that they're all terrible people.
Bullshit.
What do you mean, come on?
You daughter go out and fucking buy heroin or hard drugs or crack cocaine. You can't do that when you're underage because you're not developed. Come on.
And that child also can't go in there and tell without parental consent that I want to cut my whatever off and turn it into a whatever. You can't do that either.
Right, because you have a parent that is just as mentally ill as the fucking child is. Come on.
I don't know that, and neither do you. You're making assumptions. You're making assumptions about a situation that we don't know anything about.
Nobody should be cutting on a child, Tim. You know this.
We do it all the time.
No, I was on an ambulance, and if I went to Tulsa and somebody cut their arm, a 14-year-old cut their arm, I had to take them to the hospital because it was fucking illegal, because it was self-mutilation. Horse shit, Tim. Tell me I'm wrong.
We mutilate children the moment they're born. What are you talking about?
Oh, don't give me that fucking Judeo-Christian bullshit. Circumcision. No.
Circumcision is mutilation. How is that not mutilation? And what's worse about that is that the child didn't even get a choice.
It didn't cut the entire penis off. They didn't sterilize that patient. They didn't.
It causes irreversible damage. Yes, it does. It sure as hell does.
I'm raising 2 children right now that were bred by a person that was circumcised. So no, it doesn't.
Yep, and you wouldn't know what it would be like to be uncircumcised because you didn't get a choice in the matter.
Christ, Tim, come on.
What?
Are you serious?
Well, yes, I'm dead serious. We cut boys' penises when they didn't ask for it and for no legitimate medical purpose. There are instances where there are medical purposes for it, but we don't do that in this country yet. Somehow, this is okay. But when a child presents with a mental problem and goes to a doctor and therapy for months, if not years, and they all collectively determine for themselves, their family, their child, and with this doctor that this is a solution that they are okay with, that is none of my business. And I'm not going to get between the doctor and the patient and the mother. If it turns out that this doctor is doing anything fraudulent, or cutting corners just so that he can up his surgery rates, then you go after those doctors that do that. That's how you handle that situation, because I'm actually surprised about conservatives who are typically for small government here wanting the government to come in and intervene in people's lives and tell people what they can and can't do in that regard. It's weird.
Here's the reason why. Because Republicans know what's best for everybody.
Well, that's not true.
Well, that's
if that was true, Oklahoma would be one of the best states in the country, but it's not. It's one of the worst.
I know that you don't believe in the mutilation and the cut circumcision, transgender affirming surgery. I know that as a dad, you don't believe in that.
Correct. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think it's disgusting. I think that it's largely unnecessary. I think it is the very most rarest cases would that ever even be considered. But that's the thing. There are instances where this has been successfully transformed a person's life and made it better.
Let me ask you this.
I can't determine that.
We've had this conversation before, and I've told this story before. I went on a call where a 12-year-old that was postpartum having abdominal pain, and she was 11 years old when she got pregnant because the family decided that she was old enough to have a baby.
And how old was this child?
When I ran on her, she was 12. She had just had a baby. She was postpartum. She was 11 while she was pregnant because the family's religion dictated that she was old enough to have a baby. That's bullshit. That should not happen. That child was not old enough to consent to sex. That child was not old enough to consent to surgery or anything else except being a child. And that's horseshit, Tim.
I mean, in other cultures, that's not the case. In fact, we used to not be like that. My grandma was 14 and was forced to marry. Well, not technically forced, but she married a 32-year-old man and then popped out 19 kids or 16 kids thereafter and adopted 3. So it's not like this is some like crazy, lunatic fringe type thing. This is not even that long ago. Now, I'm not saying that I think that it's okay for 12-year-olds to be having sex and, having babies or whatever. But we have laws currently that say that you can't do that. And what we're talking about is the implementation of laws that are telling kids that you can't go and get this done at a doctor. I don't agree with that.
I don't think that anybody under the age of 18, and this is a legislative matter, if the legislator decides, yes, I'm going to vote that under 18, you can decide whatever the fuck you want to.
Under 18?
Yeah. Under 18, you can get a big tattoo of Trump on your back. You can do whatever you want to. I'm not voting for that person.
I don't know of anybody that's running that's proposing that, but
are you serious? Jacob Rosecrans, John Waldron, what's her name? Born out. They're all out there in OKC. They're like, whatever you want to do is okay with us.
You're certain that's what they've said? I feel like that's a mischaracterization.
No.
You'll have to send that to me later because you're making some pretty grand accusations there.
No, I will, because Rosencrantz, he has a transgender son or daughter, and he opposed the bill 1775 just because it spoke to the nature of the transgender stuff. He was like, if you don't have a daughter that's trans, or a son that's trans, you don't understand the impact it has on the family. I don't give a shit. That's not why you were elected.
I mean, that's a fair point.
It's not the reason they were elected. They weren't elected they were elected to represent their constituents.
Okay, and they have constituents that deal with those issues.
Fuck.
And here, and here's what's weird though about the way mischaracterizations will happen is that there's going to be some people that's going to walk away from this conversation and think that I am for, swapping out genders or whatever, and that I might do that to my children or whatever. but that's not true. But what I am saying is that is a decision that the family and their doctor should make, not me, not you, not a legislature. Because I mean, you're talking about a slippery slope here where we just get these lawyers together and we're going to write us up a treatment plan. By God, we're going to tell everybody how they have to do it. We're going to legislate every kind of treatment for every kind of disease and every kind of mental illness. No, that's ridiculous. Keep the government out of between the doctor and the patient until it becomes a situation where those doctors are purposely taking advantage of kids and or the parents are taking advantage of children. Then you deal with that on a case-by-case basis. But until then, just government should stay out of it.
Tim, I'm not done with this. We're at an hour, but I have to go pee. I'll be right back.
Okay, he'll be right back. But for those that are watching, I mean, I don't feel like I'm being unreasonable here, because if you don't want your child to have gender affirming care, then don't agree to it. That's kind of my take. Like, if you don't like it, don't do it. Well, right here, Tina just said this. They can pay for it. I agree. I do not want tax dollars going to things like that. And I'm 100% okay with that. That said, I'm also okay with a private healthcare insurance that somebody is paying for, be able to do that, because it is a treatment for a mental illness such as gender dysphoria. And whether people believe it is or not, it is an actual mental problem. The WHO used to call it a mental illness. And then, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years ago, they decided to wipe it off of their, the DSM-5 or whatever, and say that it wasn't, which was funny because Biden just recently added gender dysphoria to the Americans with Disabilities Act. So, which is it, Joe? Is it a disability or isn't it a disability? Is it a mental illness or is it not? It's kind of weird, but there are kids that really, really struggle. The problem I see with the way things are going now is that you've got a lot of peer pressure, a lot of these stupid freaking TikTok videos. You got people on Facebook, you got the news media talking about it. Now you've got idiot teachers talking about it. And it gives these children something to latch onto because we've all been young. We know it sucks. You don't know what the hell's going on. You feel uncomfortable. You feel out of place or whatever. And instead of just dealing with it like we always have, a lot of these kids are like, oh, you could be a male or you could be a female. That's probably what it is. So then these kids start self-diagnosing and just walking around. Well, I'm trans. Well, I'm this. Well, I'm that. I think a lot of what we're seeing is that. Unfortunately, what gets lost in the middle of that are kids who are actually dealing with it, because you have some influencer who, like Blair White, great example. That kind of stuff worked for Blair. It doesn't work for everybody. There's a lot of detrans people who are like, oh my God, why didn't anybody stop me? Why didn't anybody stop me? And that's very important. But what we have to do is explain to parents, like, you don't have to go along with this for society to stop judging you. That's a big issue that we're seeing now, where people will start to attack parents who don't immediately affirm. That is a big problem that we're having. And how we deal with that is, that's a lot more complex than just saying whether or not you can get gender affirming care at all. In my opinion, that's a weird one, because when adults start attacking other adults for things like that, it puts them into a box. And here's the other thing, is that a lot of these doctors and therapists do use the phrase, well, your child's going to kill themselves if you don't do this. There's a lot of fear mongering that goes into this. That stuff can be legislated out. You can, as a legislator, you can say you cannot tell this to a child or a child's parents. You cannot use fear to try and get them to go ahead and affirm care, and that you should, just like with what we did with abortions, you need to be able to show all of the images that are, of a penis that was, added or whatever, or a vagina that was added, both the good ones and the bad ones, the ones that worked and the ones that didn't work. Those are things that we as legislators and for, the health services in general can dictate and write guidelines for these therapists and such and say, look, before you can do this surgery, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And it has to have been over a certain period of time where this child is showing these issues and these certain symptoms or whatever. You can do it that way without blanket just, no, you can't do it at all. Yes, right here. Instant gratification with this generation. That's a great point. I mean, a lot of that really, I think, boils down to that. What was this other? I would rather see them talk to a professional as long as needed. And I agree completely. I've had this conversation with my children, the trans stuff. And it was essentially that. It's like, look, you can be a tomboy and still be a girl. That's fine. We need to actually, I think, push more acceptance with kids where it's saying, you might want to eat bugs and play in the dirt or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you have to be a boy. That doesn't mean that you have to question your gender or cut your tits off or, whatever the case is. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can still be a girl that likes these things. There's nothing wrong with that. Society is okay with that. We've always been okay with that to a large extent. Same with boys who are feminine. It's okay. You can do that. It's perfectly fine and acceptable. So I feel like that's another thing that needs to be shored up, where we need to explain to children that, those things are okay. And you need to just accept yourself the way you are, and try to drive that home. But there are very, very rare instances where these children are just seriously torn. They're one thing, but feel like they're something else. And, that's tragic. I can't imagine what that feels like. And I'm not a doctor or a therapist, so I can't speak to that. And I don't think that it's okay for, politicians or lawyers or any of these other people to try and legislate away and say, no. I don't like the way that looks. And it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem kosher. So we're just not going to do it. And so we're going to make it illegal. I think that's wrongheaded. I think that's increasing the power of government over us. And I'd rather see less government intrusion in my life, not more of it. I think Ron may have fallen in. Ron, you okay over there, buddy? I don't hear anything. Are you hearing flushing? Oh my goodness. Cab. Is he okay? I hear something in the background. I don't know what it is. I've consulted a few. Yes, it is extremely, extremely, extremely rare. That's why when I see all these kids, they're like, I'm trans. Like, no, and these children often display this stuff early on. And, the numbers are grossly inflated as to how many children actually kill themselves, as it relates to being gender dysphoric or what have you. I believe those numbers are way overblown. And also, I believe that stems more into a mental illness that was either something else or gender dysphoria coupled with other things. So that automatically is going to inflate it, because you have somebody with, yes, they do make big profits off of it. I imagine so. I don't know what surgeries run, but I can't imagine it's cheap. The motivation for a surgeon, I probably imagine that those surgeons don't care one way or the other what you do. So once the doctor and the therapist and the parent and the patient have all got together and said, yeah, this is what we want, that surgeon's like, okay, and does it. You know what I mean? Like, does the guy that does your breast implants, is he adding his morals into it? Well, women with A-size breasts do just fine. I don't know that you should do this. That they're there to do a job, and you go to them and ask them to do a job. So that's probably where they stand on the issue. I don't know that their morals play into it, which, maybe they're a bunch of psychopaths.
So sorry, Tim. I don't know if you know this or not, but when you have children and a wife and a family, sometimes this doesn't work out where you have to answer questions. So I had to get kids in bed, and I had to yeah. So
No, it's all right. I was just talking about, gender dysphoria and the trans movement, and how a lot of this stuff gets overplayed and overblown, and that's my view. But again, I can't stress this enough, how it is a real thing. But unfortunately, nobody knows who's actually suffering from it other than the family and the person that's dealing with it. So I can't look at somebody and say with 100% certainty, no, there's no way that you're a girl or a boy, or that you have this, mental.
The statistic on gender dysphoria.
Well, I know that over 65% of children that identify as trans are white.
I don't know about that, but 1 in 30,000 kids or people identify with gender dysphoria.
Yeah. Well, that's bullshit. It's not that high. It's not that high at all.
I don't think
it never has been that high. Now we had talked about this before, and this is kind of maybe going into the conspiracy realm, but there is a chemical out there called atrazine. You can look it up. People got all over Alex Jones for bringing this up, because he was like, they're turning the frogs gay. That's what he would always say. And people thought he was nuts, because he kind of is nuts, but he was onto something, because atrazine comes from like pesticides, and it's seeped into all the water supplies pretty much in every municipality across the country. Atrazine can be found it's in Tulsa water supply, it's in Owasso water supply. And what it does is it causes hormonal problems in frogs. They've done studies on this in frogs, and it literally turns them into the other gender. Seriously. And then it devastates the frog populations, because now they're sterile and they can't reproduce. So there is science to back up the fact that we may actually be poisoning our children by having them drink this nasty, crappy, chemically and induced water that could very well be causing hormonal imbalances. There is an argument to be made there.
But the argument is it sterilizes frogs. It hasn't been proven to sterilize humans.
They haven't done any studies on it that I know of.
Who the fuck is going to sign up for that study?
Right. And you're going to have to do it on babies.
Right.
That's the problem. What you'd have to do is you'd have to find a water supply that does not have atrazine in it. And you'll have to use those babies as a control group, then follow babies that are given atrazine in their water supply and see what the rates are of this. And you'd have to do it to, several thousand babies in order to be able to get a large enough sample size to really make a difference. I don't know that there's any motivation to do that, because when you can sell a surgery, why not just do that? So I only bring this up because it gives credence to the fact that children are increasingly dealing with this, or at least they are claiming to deal with this. A lot of it could be, a fad thing. A lot of it could be peer pressure or whatever, but some of it could be a chemical problem where they've been drinking this crap since they were babies. And
do you think that?
Do I think what?
It's a fad, or it's versus they've been drinking this crap since they were babies?
Man, I think it could be a lot. I think it's probably a mixture of all of that.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah. Cause because even when I was a kid, I'd heard about this, I've even read about it. Gender dysphoria. We
heard about like, fluoride in our drinking water at schools.
Well, that's a whole different conspiracy, but we shouldn't be drinking fluoride in our water. That's for damn sure. But
it's there.
But atrazine is different because it got into from the groundwater from the pesticides and stuff. So it's, imagine, it's not going to affect an adult. So like me and you, when we were growing up, we didn't drink the crap. We may be drinking it now.
Right.
But because we've already developed, the trace amounts of it may not be enough to affect us. But you give it to a baby in a bottle with their food, because a lot of parents aren't, breastfeeding these days. So you give it to the baby, to drink throughout the whole time that they're growing up. And surely some of these children will be more susceptible to it than others.
Well, and why aren't they? I'm sorry, it's getting late. Why aren't they breastfeeding?
I mean, I don't know. Some women I think do it out of for shame or vanity, or I don't know what.
I think it might be because they want to have the babies drink astrazine.
Oh, I doubt that very much.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think that. No. That's a mom's decision. Like my wife, she breastfed both of them, and I never heard any doctor say, "No, you shouldn't do that." So,
Yeah, I've never heard that.
I don't know that there's anybody out there. There's lots of doctors out there saying you should breastfeed. I mean, it's that's the natural way of things. I mean, I'm
just trying to throw it out. I've had like 3 wives, and 2 of them breastfed, and one of them was like, no.
Yeah,
but all my children are healthy, well-rounded people. So
yeah, hormones in animals that also can cause problems. Because we're seeing autoimmune diseases have skyrocketed, anxiety issues have skyrocketed in the general population, especially in children. ADHD, that used to just be a rambunctious kid. Now it's
Right.
I've seen some really, really, really bad ADHD kids, and it is, oh my God, I would want to just rip all my hair out if I had a child that was that ADHD or whatever, just bouncing off the walls, what have you.
Tim, we've been friends for a long time. I couldn't send my kid to your house, my son, because you don't have enough insurance.
See, I don't know. I assume I know which child you're talking about. I haven't dealt with your child long enough to know, but the ones I'm talking about, the moment that you meet this child, right, something's up. I didn't get that from your child, but I'm talking about and then, autism. Autism is also on the rise. Right. Of course, they've come out and said that Tylenol, and
I know.
What did the doctor tell you? You can't take ibuprofen. You got to take Tylenol, and they did that for how long?
Right. I saw
that. Just, oh my God, so now I don't even want to give my kids Tylenol.
I know.
I don't know. It's crazy, man. All these chemicals, all this crap.
My wife is the smartest person I know, and my wife, but I was an old paramedic, and she is a nurse, and I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's but then like Tina was saying, vaccine jabs, and also Tammy had said that as well. That's also something that, in my opinion, is up in the air as to whether or not, because I'll tell you a story. My son has not received not a single jab for anything at all ever. And that's because not one.
Mumps, nothing.
And because when I thought I was doing the right thing, I didn't know that there was even an issue with it. And I just took my child to the doctor like I was supposed to. And the doctor said, okay, we got to get your shots. And, here's this shot. Well, just a few hours after my daughter took the, I believe it was the MMR vaccine, she was already walking. She was already talking, and she just became completely lethargic. She spiked like a 104 fever, and her head was just lolling back and forward. And, she regressed. She went back. She went back to crawling again. She stopped talking. And this, we took her into the emergency room that night. That night that we got that shot, and they were, oh, it's fine, it's just a reaction to the shot, and then this child had to learn how to walk again. And now my daughter is, she's on an IEP. There, nothing major, just some things aren't retaining as well as maybe they should be. Thankfully her logic side is, phenomenal. Actually, her logic skills are great.
I've met your daughter. I haven't met your son, but your daughter is very smart.
So ever since then, I was like, I just looked it up on the internet, and I'm like, MMR vaccine or whatever. And I'm like, I was blown away by the amount of information of parents that were saying the exact same thing. Yes. I mean, I was like 25 or something like that. I didn't follow any of that crap at the time. But I did from then on, because that pissed me off, because I'm like, these motherfuckers lied to me. They didn't tell me what the possible side effects were. Then I went and looked up the damn insert that they put on the bottle. You know, they don't give it to you at the hospital. They're not going to. They just come in there with the shot and give it to you. And I look on there, and sure enough, all these, you know, encephalopathy. They've got all these, you know, brain issues that can be caused. And I'm like, what? Why in the fuck would they not tell me that? Because at the very least, I'd have fucking waited till later. So nope. I'll tell that story to anybody who asks me. So I'm not ashamed that my son hasn't received a single shot. Fuck them. I mean, half those shots anyway, they're for things that children can get over, and the mortality rate is so damn low, and the injury rate for the illness is right. And your immune system deals with it.
Right.
And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, you know.
And I agree. I've never received a shot for COVID or anything, but booster, nothing.
Yeah, I don't do flu shots or anything like that, and just
I've never had a flu shot, and that was before COVID.
Yeah, it's like Tamiflu. I had this lady. Tamiflu was banned in Japan and I believe Europe as well.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm reading this information about Tamiflu, and it doesn't even work. Like you take it towards the end, and it's supposed to reduce the symptoms by a couple of days or whatever.
It's complete bullshit. If you think you can buy anything over the counter that works, you're full of shit.
Yeah. So she's pushing this Tamiflu. I'm like, no, I'm not going to take Tamiflu. Oh, she starts arguing with me. I'm like, look, lady, I've already looked up all these studies about Tamiflu, and that it was causing these kids to go fucking crazy. They were giving it to these kids, and they were going absolute nuts. Some of them were running out in the roads, and they was getting run over. They was having like psychotic breaks, and I'm like, over something it's a flu. It's a freaking flu. It sucks. You get over it. You go on. I mean, shit. And when you look up flu deaths in children, there's not that many.
There's not that many.
There's not that many.
You got on me because I was like, there's not that many grandpa deaths either.
Flu causes problems with elderly people. Causes, typically runs into pneumonia.
Well, I was talking about like COVID shit on your.
Well, no, COVID was killing old people. Yeah, it was killing lots of old people, but that's all it was killing.
Whatever. I got 84-year-old neighbors they've had COVID twice.
Yeah, I mean, it affects some people differently. I mean, I got it. Hell, I got over it. Of course, I took ivermectin.
My wife took care of COVID. She was laying in bed with a fever, burning up, hot ass. And I like snuggled. I was like trying to catch it. I was like, I can't do it. I'm too much of an asshole, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no. So I took ivermectin that first day I got a fever. Yeah, I drove my ass to Cushing to get it because he was.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he was the only doctor that would prescribe it, and so I drove down there that first day I got a fever, and I shit you not, within like 2 or 3 hours after taking that first dose, my fever was gone, and that was it. Killed it.
I have a friend that he did a TikTok, and he took a shot of like ivermectin. He's like,
yeah, I didn't buy it from the store. I got a prescription for it. Yeah, it was. I actually had a bottle, with my name on it and the pills on it. No,
this dude was like, here's how much you want for a human. Here's how much you want for a dog. Here's how much you want for a horse.
Yeah.
He was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the whole ivermectin thing, dude, that right there, the reason they didn't want ivermectin to work is because they couldn't have pushed that jab. Because they can't give emergency approval.
Yes.
Yeah, they can't give emergency approval for something if there is a valid treatment for the thing that they're trying to push.
Thank you for saying that. Yes.
And so despite all the evidence to show that ivermectin, and here's what's funny is you can go back the last 20 years. there are tons of studies about ivermectin being used to deal with mRNA viruses because it keeps them from reproducing. They've known this since even before COVID. That's why those doctors even tried it in the first damn place, because they were like, well, this has worked before with these. So they tried it and it worked.
It makes sense.
It does. Yeah. Tina says she had COVID twice. Thankfully, I only got it once. I did lose my taste and smell. That was freaking weird, man.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah. So like, I didn't get any coughing. I didn't get anything like that. But after that first dose, I only took the ivermectin, like, I don't know, I think it was 2 times a day or something for 5 days or whatever. And it was a low dose too. But then on like the 3rd or 4th day, like I didn't get any cough or anything like that, but then I lost my smell and taste. It was weird.
I have to give a shout out to Tina because she watches all the time. Love you,
thanks, Tina. Thank you, Tina. Appreciate you. Here, I'll put your stuff up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. Yeah, she's good people.
I should probably warn people before I put their comment on.
No, don't do that. No.
You don't think?
No.
Just let her rip, huh?
I think if you know that coming on Ron and Tim, you know what to expect.
Oh, Unwokeable. He put me up there. Facebook user Mark, you did that on purpose.
He did not. He said that
he did. Yes,
it was yard string or whatever it was.
Well, that's what we're using. Hold on, there's a setting in here somewhere. I don't want to mess with it right now, but there's a setting in here somewhere.
Stop.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Just
hey, Unwokeable is gonna come on our podcast.
Oh, that's fine.
It is fun.
I mean, I'll laugh about it to him.
Well, I think y'all.
hey, this. It's all in good fun.
It's all in good America. Is what I say.
Yeah.
You and Unwokeable. Come on now.
Well, he ought to.
We need to get Robert Ruiz in there too.
Yeah, bring them all. Bring them all. We'll have like 7 fucking people in this show.
Up to 10, right?
And then there'll be me. Just 7 people and me.
Oh my God.
I don't care. I'll argue with anybody.
Maybe
I'll argue with anybody. I'll argue shit that I don't even agree with.
I know you will. That's why people hate you, Tim, because you argue with everybody.
That's probably right. Yeah, I'll get people, they'll start liking me and they'll start talking to me. But then an issue comes up that they don't agree with, and I'm like,
fuck off.
Yeah. And oh my God. They get butthurt about it.
Have you heard from Gina?
No.
Fuck her, man.
All the good things that I've said about this woman, I still really like Gina, though. I gotta be honest. I actually like Gina. So
what about Joy?
I mean, she's not Kevin.
Hang on a second. You still like Gina, though she banned a parent?
Yeah. There's somebody else that banned a parent that I still like.
Who?
I'm not gonna say the person's name.
No, he owned up to that. Don't do that. No,
he did. He did. Yeah, sure did. But it happened.
Gina hasn't done that.
Yeah, she probably won't either.
I'm still fucking banned. Gina Nelson. Who else? John Waldron, Clark Fraley, pastors for Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Logan Phillips, they all banned me.
It's because you're the real Ron.
No, it's because they can't.
Maybe you know what? Maybe the fake Ron needs to go on a tear. I feel like that's what needs to happen, sir. What do you think?
Have at it, because everybody knows that you're the fake Ron.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
I think like you need to talk to Deborah Gist.
She ain't going to talk to us, especially after what I said to her on that Facebook. Of course, I wasn't mean. I just laid it out. Like,
you
look,
told
lady,
her that she needed a mental health counseling, Tim.
I did tell her that, didn't I? Oh my God, I can't. Yeah, I did say that.
You need to talk to one of those
What,
counselors.
hold on, I want to read that again. Where the hell?
Yeah, read that. Yeah.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Talk to one of those 300 counselors that Gina's.
Hell, she probably blocked my ass.
She probably did.
Let me see. I got to go to your thing to find this.
Oh my God, that was perfect.
Actually, you know what? I can put it up on the on the deal
From the
yeah. Hold on. Let me remove this.
so everybody can see.
Let me present stop screen. Hold on real quick. OBS is much easier. Let me see.
What was the point of her live? What did you get from that?
Well, I think what she was trying to do was talk about the shooting. I think that was the intended thing. You know what I'm saying?
I do, but I think that was theatrics. I really, Deborah Gist, I don't have anything for you. I think that was fake as fuck. I think it was horrible.
She's the superintendent. She's got to say something, you know.
Yeah, but
that's what she said.
Oh, but the fake tears and the fake crying and shit. That was no. Be real.
Here we go. I think I got it.
It was a horrible experience, Deborah. You don't have to fucking fake cry.
Okay, here we go. Oh,
Booyah. There it is.
All right, let me zoom in here real quick.
Show the comment.
I'm gonna try to do it in order. Yeah, some stuff being stirred up that is related to a member of our team, and it's related to a person who gained the trust of this member of our team and then pulled him into sharing his thoughts. Okay, so he got caught telling someone how he intended to continue instructing his children, which is actually what got him resigned from Owasso. I know this for a fact because I'm the parent that got him to resign. Wait, which one was it that I said she needed?
It was long.
Yeah, I do remember that. Let's see. Yeah, this might be it.
Yeah, there it is.
She said, people's beliefs in our children. It is our responsibility to make sure that we are not bringing our personal religion or political beliefs in an inappropriate way. I said, holy crap. You do get it.
Right. Yeah.
Bravo. Welcome to the rest of us who believe Tyler Wrynn's license should be at the very least suspended until he can grow up and learn that those aren't his children, never will be his children, and shouldn't be treated like his children. Thanks for finally getting what everybody. You see, the problem here is that you aren't listening to understand. You're listening to respond. Blah, blah, blah. Let me go through here. We're all fed up with it. Here's the defund the police argument I made. Where's the, I guess that's not where I told her to.
You need to, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know. I don't want to sit here and dig through it while everybody watches.
No, you need to go to Deborah Gist live.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm on there. It's on there.
Oh, I'm talking about our viewers.
Oh, right. Yeah. I can here. I'll post the link to it in the chat. Yeah. Here, let me do that.
Her fake ass crying about the McLean students, which was a real tragedy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the fake crying, but
I do. It was fake. But that's a societal issue, and I hate that those people died. But yeah, the fake ass crying to keep your job and try to bolster some bullshit political.
Well, you know, about the shooting. Now, I actually, because I was gone all weekend, I missed a lot of everything that was happening because I was just, all I could think about was the next wedding that was coming.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about the shooting, but like as you had said that there were police there, apparently.
From what I understand is there was two 17-year-olds shot. One was dead. A 9-year-old was shot. A 22-year-old was shot. And the shooter was a 17-year-old.
See, this is a cultural issue, I think, with America.
Exactly what I'm saying.
And here's why I think it's a cultural issue, because in only 13 years of our entire existence as a country have we been in peacetime.
Right.
We are a warring nation, whether we want to believe it or not. It's just a fact. That's why we're so good at what we do. That's why our military is so powerful, because Every generation of new soldier has gone to fight somewhere for something, doing something like that. So, there's no better experience than on the job training, as it were.
Well, not only that, but you have Call of Duty, you have video games, you have
all these countries have their
culture of it's cool to have a gun and be able to use it.
Yeah, well, the video games, they all have that stuff, but they don't all have the problems we have with school shootings. Now, there was one in Russia, but that like never happens in other countries. Like, it's very rare. I mean, it's still rare relatively in our country, but it's a hell of a lot more common than in other countries. But it is a culture of violence. Sad to say, I believe that's true. I believe we are, the American culture is a violent one. I mean, look at our prison population. We've got a bigger prison population than just about any damn person. So instead of showing like empathy towards people and understanding that shit can screw up, we just throw them away.
Hang on a second. Hang on. I disagree with that. Hang on. You say it's a culture of violence, but is it a culture of violence or is it a culture of strength? That we're not going to take your shit.
I think it's a culture of violence, because you can be strong without being violent. You can be strong without declaring and getting into war. Like, here's an example. China, very powerful nation, right? They've huge economy, right? I mean, they're, going to surpass us if they haven't already. But they chose business, whereas we chose war. So if they become a superpower, they're going to do it off the back of an economy, right? Off the back of the fact that they can get their people to all come together and do the same thing and just kind of work towards the same common goal. That doesn't work here. Individualism and violence is kind of ingrained, I think, in people, and it's hard to.
I think that's what makes us different than the other world.
It is. We have a different and I'm not even saying that it's necessarily a terrible thing. I'm just saying that's kind of comes with the territory, I guess. And then you add on top of that an increasing poverty level, an increasing number of people that are dealing with ghettos and what have you, and schools that are crap. You end up with a group of people that are just violent. That they believe that's the reaction, because every time a school shooting happens, what do half the people come out and say? All right, we need more school resource officers, or we need guns in school,
gun control.
Right. Well, and then the other half says that, but the ones that typically get what they want, it's more resource officers. Right. We saw, after, I believe it was Columbine, they had put like 6,500 school resource officers in schools across the country, and then bumped that up after a couple of other ones. So we actually already have a bunch of school resource officers in schools. So I don't know, that we need more.
Do you feel your children are safe at school?
Yeah, but I don't think that's because of a school resource officer. I just think that's because it's just highly unlikely that at Wasso somebody's going to go crazy. I think it's less likely here than in Tulsa.
I agree completely.
Yeah. But that's just,
if my child was in Tulsa, I would be worried.
Concerned, yeah, for sure. Even if there hadn't been a shooting, I would be more concerned in Tulsa, because there are other problems.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah. It sucks because you want to do something, but at the same time, I've got my own shit I've got to worry about. I can't fix, you can't fix everybody's issues. The parents in Tulsa are the ones that are going to have to come out and fix that stuff for themselves, whether that's forcing the board out or whatever. But unfortunately, so many people are checked out of life at this point because all they can do is work. That's all they have time to do is work. They get home, they're too tired to do anything with their kids. And then their kids get raised by, a computer or whatever. And, not even necessarily the fault of the parent, because shit, you work 60, 70 hours a week. What else are you going to do?
That's the point. If you're in Jinx or Broken Arrow or Wasso or Bigsby, you're not worried about those homecoming shootings.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they could happen, but yeah, it's not really something that enters my mind.
Yeah, it never entered my mind.
And there's this big socioeconomic gap between Owasso and Tulsa.
I agree.
That's just the fact.
And I think that's a different topic from what's going on with public schools. I think that's a societal issue.
Yeah, well, and that's why a lot of people are moving to rural towns, because they're starting to realize the urbanized areas, there's too many people vying for too few resources.
Right. You're exactly right.
So when you do that, you kind of pit people against each other. And, if you throw a couple of guys in there and say it's one or the other, what's going to happen? It's a dog eat dog world. I mean, that's kind of, and then when you take a parent, when you take
and worry about your kids, or you can move to Owasso, Bigsby, Jinx, Broken Arrow, and not that is sad and heartbreaking to me.
Yeah, but I mean, the larger they get, though, the more likely they're going to have those pockets of just completely impoverished, drug riddled parents that aren't there for their kids. And again, this goes back into resources for schools to try and handle those children, which, I agree with you to a large extent that we don't want our schools to become that. But at the same time, what the hell else are you supposed to do?
Right.
When you got a bunch of kids that their parents are, shit suckers, what do you do?
Checked out. They're done.
Right. They're either working too damn hard and don't have time, or they're on drugs, and they spend half their life trying to find drugs. That actually goes into the argument that I believe we should legalize all drugs. If somebody's addicted to heroin or whatever, give them a legal method to go and get it from a doctor for cheap.
What productivity does that even? Come on, Tim.
Well, think about it this way. If a person is addicted to drugs, what are they thinking about most of the day?
Drugs.
How they're going to get more. And what do they need to get more? Money. So if they can't afford to do it, what do? They're going to steal it. They're going to rob somebody. They're going to take things. But if they can get it in a way that's cheap, that they know the stuff that they are buying from a legitimate source is not going to kill them, I feel like that outweighs.
No,
look at Portugal. They did the same thing. They had severe problems with heroin overdoses, opiate overdoses, all kinds of drugs. When they did that, it was almost instantaneous turnaround. Then people actually, because the shame went away, there's a stigma attached to drug use. So these people are
stigma attached. No.
But how is that any different than any other problem that you're having, like a mental disorder? Because it's an addiction. It's not necessarily that person's fault.
That's what I was fixing. It's an addiction. It's a choice. It's
a
choice.
No, an addiction is not a choice.
No, horseshit. We're going to do no. You won't beat me on this. Addiction is a choice.
It may have began as a bad choice, but once you are addicted, that becomes a whole slew of other things that aren't.
I have to choose every day not to take opiates. Every single day, I have to choose that.
Well, if you aren't addicted to them, then you don't choose it. You just don't think about it.
And you know this. We've been friends for 3. I personally have to choose every single day not to go buy opiates and not to take opiates.
But what had to happen for you to get to that point?
My kids.
Something happened. And that's usually what happens. But shit usually gets really bad. Well, guess what? If you got 10,000 people in a town and they're all fucked up on drugs and they're all they haven't reached rock bottom yet.
No,
they're all going to be making bad decisions because yes, I mean, it's just do when, tomorrow, whatever, just look up Portugal's stance on it because they didn't make it legal necessarily, but they stopped criminalizing it and they gave it to those who needed it, along with the ability for those people to
Nobody
get
fucking
help.
needs it, Tim.
The people that are addicted to it do.
No, they don't.
Because if they don't get it and they aren't ready, they don't have the support to get them through that addiction.
They need the support. They don't need the fucking drug.
Well, that's how you get through it.
Nah.
You have to be ready for that stuff to get off of it. Not everybody is you, right? Not everybody can do the same thing that you do.
No, we're all fucking human. We all have the same chemical makeup. Everybody can do what I do. I'm good looking. I wake up every morning. I get better looking. That's fine.
Do you think anybody could beat Michael Phelps?
Fuck off, Tim. What are you doing? Stop. Fuck off.
Because think about it. This man is built. This dude's got webbed feet and fingers, and he has abnormally large arms and stuff. We're not all built the same way. We don't respond the same way. We don't react
about this fucking much of society.
Well, I mean, that's all that it takes to really cause huge problems.
I used to run fucking trailer parks every night. 11th and Utica. Overdose after overdose after overdose.
Well, think of it this way. Think of how much more productive those people could be if they didn't have to spend their entire lives worrying about where they were going to get up enough scratch to give to a drug dealer who didn't give a damn about them, just to get enough hit so that they didn't have to deal with withdrawals or whatever the mental problems is.
Fucking hit, because if I had the ability, and that's the point, if I had the access and the money to just fucking stay high on opioids all day long, I would fucking do that.
I mean, I probably not.
Well, but that's the point. That's the mentality. It's where I have to decide that I have to limit my access to this shit. I have to say no.
Yeah, but I mean, again, this goes back into the government telling you what you can and can't do. If somebody wants to shoot a needle into their arm and kill themselves, I'm not going to stop them. That's their deal.
Somebody from fucking Tim. You're not going to stop somebody from taking drugs.
This is my libertarian side.
Somebody from saying it's okay to fucking cut off a little boy's penis. Come on, Tim.
I mean, I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't let my child do it. But if that's what a doctor and their patient decides is best,
the doctor told me that it's okay for you to get high and fucking overdose on opioids. That's fine.
That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what legalization would look like. Just look up Portugal. You'll see what they did. They had a multi-pronged approach, and they turned the entire country around.
I'm gonna look it up.
It was almost overnight.
This is another fucking episode for real.
Okay, so think about it from this perspective. When we're the largest importer of illegal drugs. The U.S. is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That money goes to cartels, and guess where the cartels are? They're in Southern America. Well, those people kill those people in Southern America. So those people are running from them, and guess where they end up? They run here as refugees, and they end up on the border. So then we have this issue where we're dealing with these illegal immigrants because they're afraid of their country, where we have empowered these cartels by buying the drugs. So if we provide the drugs for the people that need them,
no.
Yes,
that's not a solution. That is no.
It is a humane way to deal with a problem because look at it. The war on drugs, did that work? Did the war on drugs work? Hell no, it didn't work. Guess what? People are going to do drugs. There's nothing you can do about it. We've been doing drugs.
Thing that put the little sticker on the fucking albums from NWA.
You're never going to get rid of drugs. But what you can do is you can make sure that the stuff that these people are getting is safe, and so that they don't have to spend their entire life chasing this dragon and getting the money to give to some guy who doesn't care about them, who just wants to take their money for his own stuff and wants people to get hooked on it so they can get the money. You sell it at cost, and nobody's profiting off of it.
Tim.
I mean, it's a way to go.
I got to talk to people about this. I'm going to look up Portuguese.
Here we go. Now, Odie has been here. I'll do the first one. Still watching y'all. And thank you for that, Odie. I do think the Portugal approach is worth looking at. I don't know that it would work here, and it may very well not work here because Portugal is a completely different culture. But what we're doing is not working. Clearly, it's clearly not working.
Public schools, what we're doing right now is not working, so we need to vote for Ryan Walters.
But we have states where it does work, so we can do that. Yeah, Portugal. Anyway, yeah, we're going on 2 hours. So
oh my God.
To those
we are.
Yeah, to those that have watched the whole thing, thank you. That's awesome.
Good job.
He's Todd. And he's a Ron fan. Someday, Odie, you will be a liberal loudmouth fan too. I'll just say. But no, thanks for those that are watching. That's awesome.
We do appreciate everybody watching, whether you're liberal, conservative.
Yeah,
we're just talking, and
we kind of got off in the weeds there. I don't even know how we started on this conversation, but
don't do drugs.
It's not worth it. That's for sure. But either way, if you do drugs, hopefully in the future we'll have a humane approach to deal with.
We won't.
All right, Ron, you got anything else?
No. Thursday I do. Yeah. But not tonight.
Thursday. What's going on Thursday?
I'm gonna have a special guest for you.
Oh, that's right. We'll see if I can stay awake for this one.
Yeah, no, this is special. I'm not going to announce it right now, but we have a special guest just for Tim.
Yeah, just for me.
It's gonna be phenomenal.
I know who it is.
You know who it is, yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, I don't dislike the guy, but he made some comments that I don't think he likes me very much, and that's okay.
No, he likes you. I talked to him. He's like, I would love to come on y'all show. Yeah. So
yeah, that'll be good.
He's not scared.
I don't even know what he's going to talk about. Like, I know he goes off on that DEI stuff. I don't know shit about it. So
DEI, the OU medical. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal. I want you to bring somebody on to debate me.
Yeah, I don't hang out with anybody.
Gina?
Man, she ain't even talking to me like she's going to talk to you.
Nobody. She ain't talking to shit.
Man, she's talking to people all over the state. What are you talking about? That girl is everywhere.
What about Joy? Joy ain't talking to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Joy is just kind of
It is really
somebody said it.
What? Oh, there she is. Tina's trying to blast us out here. You never know, Tina.
Yeah, you never know.
Quit stealing my thunder, Tina.
We'll give him the old brown bag special. Get him to put a paper sack over his head.
I love it. Yeah, the 2-for-1.
I want to say before we go, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but I actually the guy that owns Royal Bin Cleaning, I was DJing a wedding and he recognized my voice. He was at the wedding. Yeah,
you have a recognizable voice. You really do.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people from my old YouTube channel recognize my voice in Grand Theft Auto several times, different people. Yeah, seriously, I've been playing. It's like, man, I know I've heard you from somewhere, and I'm like, that might be my YouTube channel. And then we start talking. It's like, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's kind of weird. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. He owns this company called Royal Bin Cleaning. What they do is they come out and they will spray and sanitize and deodorize your trash bins because those things are nasty. Oh my God.
I'll say this. My wife, she's very climate, like earth friendly, and they don't just throw the shit off in the ditch.
They take it with them. Yeah.
The chemicals. Yeah.
There's no chemicals. Yeah. It's just a hard spray of hot water. Now the deodorizer, I'm not 100% on that. I'll have to ask Andrew about that and what that is. But the cleaning part is just
went to a wedding and he was there. He recognized your voice.
Yeah, no, he came up to the booth and he's like, Tim, I'm like, yeah, what's up, man?
What's up?
You know, 'cause we had never met each other. You know, I'd only corresponded with him over. But anyway, he owns Rural Bin Cleaning. So if you text Loudmouth to that number right there, 918-855-4322, you know, they'll send 20% of your first service back to us, just as a way to support our channel and to support a local business. They run the Tulsa metro area.
Which we don't give a shit about the whatever. We just want to support local businesses.
Yeah.
Wonderful service.
Yeah, the rollbincleaning.com. You can go there and use that promo code Loudmouth on there as well. Just let them know Tim sent you, or just use that Loudmouth code and booyah.
Hey, Tim, ask Tina if she wants to come over here on our show here and
yeah, we've been talking about just, you know, grabbing people that want to come on and talk. I mean, because it seemed to work, you know, with you and Janice and Mark on the show, and Chris.
Like normal people, nobody like famous or just here as a parent, teacher, whatever, and just talk. So Tina, if you're available and you're interested, you have my vote.
Whatever. Well, send us a message.
Yeah.
Send us a message and we'll work that out.
Yeah.
We'll get y'all. I know there was one guy who wanted to come on and throw some mud at me. He, I don't remember.
Casey.
Was it Oh yeah, it was Casey. Yeah, if you know Casey, reach out to him, let him know. We can pull him on there too.
Love Jeremy Guthrie.
Yeah, Jeremy, come on. I honestly don't care. I mean, I'll argue with anybody.
I don't care either, and you know this. And I'm like, I even asked you earlier. I was like, "You got anybody that wants to like debate me?" And you're like, "Nah."
I don't really have any liberal friends. That's because they get pissed off when I don't, go woke with them. I guess, because that kind of stuff is where I diverge. But honestly, I just wish people would just mind their own damn business and leave my kids alone, leave everybody else's kids alone. Just deal with your own shit.
We need to reach out to some representatives and senators.
Yeah, well, I feel like it'll be a lot easier after the election's over.
I think so. JJ told us he'd come on after the election, right?
Yeah, I mean, that remains to be seen if he'll still do it, but we'll see. Definitely will be a lot easier of a conversation afterward, because then they won't have to worry about saying something silly or whatever.
I think Chris Banning, we both know Chris.
Yeah.
I think he would come on. Who else? Logan Phillips will not come on.
Yeah. Ryan. I don't know. Maybe Ryan. He might not. I don't know. I've been poking at him pretty good.
Let me talk to Ryan for a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. Either way.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he knows I'm not going to be a dick, but
you would be a dick if he came on. Come on. I mean,
no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
If Gina came on and be like, do you think masks should be in school? Do you think CRT? You'd be the same with the vouchers and shit. Come on now.
No. Because see, when we started this, and I'll just say, I like the way Joe Rogan does his show, where he just sits down for like 3 hours and just has a conversation about just whatever. I mean, these people talk about aliens. They talk about all kinds of crazy stuff.
They smoke while they do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that format better. It's chill. It's laid back. You can get people to come on. There's no pressure. You know what I mean? I'm not here as a journalist necessarily, though I don't want to spout things that aren't true, but if I'm just shooting the shit with somebody that's interesting, that's.
I think people grab on to the shooting the shit type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I prefer that. I'd rather not, do interviews unless it's, called for, like somebody's running for office or whatever, and people would want to see that.
Oh, and tell the people about what we discussed earlier about doing these earlier.
Yeah, we thought about doing them earlier in the day. It just kind of works out better, I think, for both me and Ron. So let us know if that doesn't work out for you, if you prefer nighttime. Because, I mean, obviously the show will be here on YouTube and Facebook after we've done it, so you can still watch it. But if you want to catch the live show, what do you think? Like around noon or something?
Yeah, because like tonight, I had to take 2 bathroom breaks because I had kids to get to bed and
Yeah.
things like that. So during the day, they're at school, and I can take
Right.
lunch break and come home and do the show with Tim or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be because my eyes at night, they start getting real dry, and then I look like I look like one of those lizard people. I've noticed like my eye like does this weird thing. I don't know.
I miss the caps. What do you call those caps? The skull caps or?
Oh, my hat.
Yeah, but it's like a flat hat.
Yeah, well, it's a beret type.
A beret,
I don't know what they call it. It's like a golf cap, but
Golf cap.
I left it in the car. I was too lazy to walk out there and get it. Because my hair grew back a little bit, so you can't see my receding line as much. So
my hair will never grow back.
Because I don't wear my hat when I'm DJing.
No?
No. I don't know. I might find a cool fedora and go that route, because I'm in a suit and tie. It's a wedding.
So let me ask you this: we're less than 5 weeks from the election.
You know what? I'm just gonna smoke this cigarette. Fuck it.
Go ahead.
I've been trying to smoke it for forever.
If my wife wasn't like adjacent to me, I would probably smoke too. But
well, I'm in my office. No, ain't nobody.
Yeah, you're out. Are you going to come with me to the watch party for the election night?
Where's it going to be at?
Oklahoma City.
I mean, if I'm invited, I will go.
I'll invite you. Me and Tab, you and Christy, Chris, his wife.
So who's hosting the watch party though?
Governor Stitt, Ryan Walters.
Yeah, well, I'd rather you get the okay with them first. I don't want to show up and get kicked out before I even start. That motherfucker.
No, if I get the okay.
Yeah. I heard somebody screaming in the background. What's that?
My wife was like, "Please kill me." No, she's like, "This is horrible." No,
she doesn't want to go to the watch party. Well, I have to have a designated driver because I'll probably want to drink. I don't ever get to drink.
Oh, we'll probably have to stay up in Oklahoma City that night because we're gonna win, son.
That's the funniest damn thing I've heard all week, son.
That's what Gina said. Do you really think Gina's gonna win?
I mean, I honestly, the cards are not in her favor, but I feel like every time Ryan starts talking, people start shutting off.
If
I really feel that
$1,000 and you were in Vegas right now, and you're like, Ryan,
I wouldn't bet.
Oklahoma, who are you betting on?
Yeah, I wouldn't bet, but I would say that you would probably win more money if you bet on Gina because she would be the underdog. So
she has said nothing, Tim.
She's been all over the state. What are you talking about?
She's been all over the state talking about OEA and how we have to support teachers. She ain't said a motherfucking thing about parents.
That's what she's running on. We got to support teachers.
She can run on this because she ain't gonna get.
Well, she's mostly been saying we need to support public schools. Because
what does that mean, Tim?
That means no vouchers. That means no for-private school or private for-profit schools. That's what that means.
At the end, ain't nobody gonna put vouchers in our fucking public schools within 10 years.
This is how they get into it. This is how they get it.
Piss off.
That's how they start. That's how the druggies get you too. They give you a little taste. They're like, "Hey, you want some of this?"
Yeah,
and they give you a little. They give you a little
one. And
yeah. You're like, "Oh, try this, man. It's gonna change your life. It's gonna change your life."
It's like we're living in San Francisco, right?
Yeah, and then you can't go back.
Tim,
then you gotta legalize it.
Joy has no chance of winning.
Well, she has a chance of winning.
Come on, Tim.
She definitely has a chance of winning.
What does that even mean?
I mean, everybody has a chance of winning.
She would have to pull 32,000 Republican votes.
Or get more Democrat votes.
No.
And the Republicans not show up.
Democratic votes.
And the Republicans not show up.
Right. Exactly. You know what?
Well, there's a lot of Democrats that register Republican.
That's my fucking job, is to get Republicans out to vote, Tim.
Is that your job? Like
That's
you're getting
my
paid
job
to
as
do
an
that?
American. No,
Okay.
not paid. I wish I was paid. I
You
wish.
should be paid.
I
I don't know why you should ask them for money.
Yeah. Write
Yeah.
the check.
Yeah.
But
Kevin,
no. Yeah.
Ryan, whoever else.
Class wallet money right here. Make it out to Ron Cosby.
Consultant fee. Put that in the memo.
That's what
Write
my
it
wife
down.
was like. Should we make you a consultant or a pundit or what?
Consultant.
You need to talk to Tim, because I don't know what I don't.
Yeah. Here, I'll write it up right now. Hold on. I don't have a pen. I was just going to write consultant on a piece of paper.
Have you been approached by the left?
No, well, I've made some inroads a little bit. But again, every time this subject, like with Tyler and stuff, comes up, they'll pull back against me. So
I get it.
yeah, it is what it is.
Parent pull back against Tyler people.
Do what?
As a parent, you have to say, no, I'm not about the Tyler shit.
Yeah, I can't get behind that. I can't, just like with Amy Cook, couldn't get behind the prayer closet. Don't get behind that kind of crap. I can't do it.
And you know that I love Amy, and I talk to Amy, and she's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
But that doesn't belong in public
Doesn't
school.
belong there. It doesn't. And you know what? If you say one and not the other, you're a hypocrite. I'd be a hypocrite if I was okay with one and not the other. So,
and it's okay if you say that. If you're Amy Cook or Tyler Wrynn and you're one way or the other, that's fine. But as far as publics, and that's what people don't understand, is public schools is off limits for all the bullshit.
Right. It should be a neutral zone. It's like that story. Somebody called me a groomer on Unwokables. The story was, and my daughter, I thought, because I'm, agnostic, leaning basically atheist, but I knew as a parent and the authority figure of my child that what I expressed to them as my belief would have more weight than anything else in their life. And to me, religion is such a personal thing. It's like, it to me doesn't matter if they believe this, that, or the other. So I want them to develop that on their own and come to their own conclusions without some overbearing, impression from myself. So I never brought it up. I never talked about it. I never tried to keep them or sway them one way or the other. Well, when she went to school, like first grade, she's come back and I love God and this, that, and I'm like, I just let it go. I'm like, do you want to go to church? Do you want me to buy you a Bible? I bought her a Bible. She went to church, but then she started like seeing the things that I was always seeing with churchgoers. It's like, man, these are some of the judgiest fuckers ever. And, a lot of times they are. And so she, shied away from that. And that's how I approach that, because I respect my child's ability to make her own choices about a religious belief like that, even political ideology.
Right. Any belief, right?
They need to be allowed to explore. They need to be curious. They need to be allowed to go out and learn different things, because she went from one thing to the next, and then she ended up on paganism. And, I'm okay with that. Like if she wants to bless rocks and go and, talk to trees and whatever, that's between her and whatever. Doesn't hurt me at all. That's what she believes in, and I'm sure that'll change over time too. So,
yeah,
but if she wouldn't know if she wasn't given the opportunity to say, there are other things out there. You don't have to subscribe to one thing. It's okay. So anyway, I just wish more people would be like that, especially at school, but that's again, like those books that Unwokable was talking about earlier, it's like, man, it's a different ideology, and there's nothing wrong with a child having access to that stuff, because they should be allowed to read that stuff. They can make their own damn decision. You know what I mean? They can read this and be like, that is crap. And, if that's what you believed as a parent, you'd be like, oh, that's great. And if they came and they started talking to you about it, then you can have a rational discussion with them because they're young adults and they're trying to learn the world. And that's the way the developmental process goes. Let your child flourish to what they want to be. You can guide them, but at the end of the day, the moment they turn 18, they're going to do whatever the hell they want to anyway.
Don't I know that.
Yeah, might as well give them a head start.
I agree with you on that point as far as be exposed and then ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. There's more than one way to do everything.
Right.
I mean, as Chris said earlier, I believe on Unwokables, there are some good voucher schools, for-profit schools. There are bad ones. There
Right.
are good public schools. There are bad public schools. I mean, that's true for basically everything. So I don't know. There's always a different way to do things. That's why when you're like, it's my job to, get more Republicans out there. It's like, I don't know. Fight for facts and information.
That's my job, Tim.
Yeah. That's called Americaning.
That's my time. That's my job.
Oh
Tim.
God. Hey, what's up, Chaos? Yeah, there's Chaos Seeker. I know who it is, but you don't.
I know.
Sucker.
It's a secret.
Yeah, I can't tell you.
Come on and say what you need to say. I appreciate
I will say though that oh shit, now I forgot. It was your Trump flag.
I know.
Your Trump flag is what got me. It reminded me to say something. No, it's gone. I lost it. Damn it. It was a good one too. I think it was funny. It's funny that I think it's funny and I don't remember what the hell it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, it's getting late, man. I'm gonna hop off here. Thanks to everybody that was hanging around. You got anything else, Ron?
No, I'm good.
All right, man. We'll catch you Thursday then.
Yep, we'll be here.
Peace. Boom.
We'll see you.
All right. See you next time, guys. Peace.